Good morning, it's Friday, May 22nd, and I'm trying to do some deep breathing exercises because the roads here are really throwing me for a loop. It's very stressful driving. But we've made it to David Austin Roses, and it's about 10:15, and it's a huge farm. There's like roses as far as the eye can see. So Mom and I are gonna go inside and check it out and see if we can walk around and take a look at some of the beautiful roses, I feel. So this is a map of the David Austin Center, and we're here just coming out of the gift shop, and there's gardens all through here and the plant center. This is the patio garden section, and it has all the roses in these beautiful large pots. This is the rose of the year that we saw at the flower show. This is Sir David Beckham, and it was commissioned by his daughter on occasion of his 50th birthday. Here's Emma Bridgewater that we saw at Queen Mary's Rose Garden. It has such a beautiful, interesting shades. Here's Lady of Shalott, which we saw also a lot at Kew and the Royal Garden. Here's Desdemona. This is one that I saw at Kew. So beautiful, so English. Desdemona. And here's someone that we know, Princess Alexandra of Kent. This vigorous climber is the generous gardener. Absolutely beautiful. This rose is called Bathsheba. It's a beautiful climber. And who do we have here? Only our absolute favorite, Olivia Rose Austin, looking so stunning in this very tall terracotta pot. I just did not appreciate how beautiful these could look in tall pots. This is called the Lion Garden, presumably because they've got a beautiful lion sculpture down at the end. But I love this garden because it has some perennials interspersed. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get some ideas about how to fill out my rose garden with some beautiful perennials. So I see geraniums in here. I see the allium. And I love the interspersing of the standard tree roses. I think these are daylilies in here. And this is Nepeta, which I did plant a lot of Nepeta in my garden this year. And then I can see some salvia down here in the front. And over here, this is a plant I've not seen before called Persicaria bistorta superba. I'm gonna have to look that up and see if it's available. This is Harlow Carr. She's just full of buds, ready to go any minute. Here they've used Stachys as a companion plant. And again, lots of allium. And geraniums. Here they've got a beautiful peony. Some irises. And here's a sedum called Purple Emperor. This is a really lovely companion plant here. It's got interesting purplish foliage and these beautiful delicate purple flowers. It looks really, really nice. And above it is Emma Bridgewater. Here's an example of some roses that were freshly planted, and they have a sign here that says, "I'll reach my mature size in about 3 years." So that's good to know. Here's a type of geranium called Geranium sanguineum album, so it must be white. Here they've planted Alstroemeria freedom as a companion plant. I just can't plant Alstroemeria in my garden. It's too invasive. Here's a beautiful tree rose of Desdemona underplanted with Nepeta. Here's an interesting one. I've never seen Olivia Rose Austin as a standard tree, and she looks absolutely gorgeous set up as a standard tree. Look that up, but underplanted here is a bunch of beautiful dark purple salvia, along with lots of allium. So I'm really going to get my allium game up. Over here in the back, we have Claire Austin, who I have in my garden, and she's growing amazingly. And interestingly, they have a beautiful obelisk near Claire Austin, which is how I have my Claire Austin as well. Here's a companion plant called Verbena bonariensis. Here's a geranium called Espresso. This variety of Nepeta is called Kit Kat. Here is Lady of Shalott as a tree standard. Holy mackerel, this looks amazing. So gorgeous. Another companion plant they've included here is Lismachia clothroides and Cephalaria gigantica. Some more salvia here. Here's Desdemona intermixed with some allium. Looks amazing. I think that's a great idea for my garden. Here's Princess Alexandra of Kent. They've got some clematis up on the climbing wall as well. This companion plant is called Sanguis sorba tana. Here's a Lady of Shalott, and interesting, if you look underneath, they've got the canes bent around and supported at certain points by stakes, so it kind of is a bit more self-supporting. I guess this is so it doesn't fall over, but there is at least 6 plants here, so this is not one plant. Oh, this is the plant that I saw back over there. This is Polemonium ceruleum, heaven sent. So now we're moving from the Lion Garden into the Renaissance Garden. This section seems to feature a number of rambling roses. I've not heard of some of these. Princess Louise, Strawberry Hill, Maid of Kent, Mary Delaney. And then on the wall, they've got the Pilgrim mixed with some clematis, Woolerton Old Hall. But you know what? I don't want to be picky. But guess what? Guess what's at David Austin? It's black spot. Oh my goodness. If they can't get rid of black spot, then what's my hope? So this is the first rose I've seen with that, but they're certainly not cutting it down or keeping it away from the other roses, so maybe I shouldn't worry so much. Again, not to be picky, but is this some sawfly? I think it is. This is Golden Celebration. It says it's freshly planted, but it looks like it's doing incredibly well. is called the King's Rose. This is a gorgeous rose that I don't think we've seen. Maybe we've seen it before, Danahue. And it's got so many buds, and it's an interesting shade of kind of coral yellow. And it's got a nice fruity smell. It's a medium shrub. So in this Renaissance garden, it appears that they are not putting companion plants along with the roses, which is beautiful, but I do like the idea of companion plants because I think it's supposed to be beneficial for insects. This looks like Eustacia vi, and it is Eustacia vi. So I just had a good talk with one of the rose gardeners here about rust and black spot, and he says that they don't fuss too much about these. He says they pull them off when they see them, and he says if a rose is really struggling with a lot of black spot, then sometimes it's the soil, and sometimes you have to dig up the plant, but you know, they don't use a lot of pesticides, and they have an agronomist that kind of makes up a mix of spray. So presumably that's got a bit of sulfur in it. I don't see any powdery mildew here, but he says rust has been a real problem this year. So he said sometimes with these things it's the soil, and you can try using nematodes in the soil for things that overwinter. But he says they use the Bacillus BTK sometimes. I thought that didn't work on roses, but he said sometimes it can work. I guess that's for sawfly. So anyways, he didn't seem to be too fussed about things, and they're not super precious about, you know, making everything look perfect, although to me it does absolutely look perfect. It's so beautiful here. The other thing he told me is that they will often retire a shrub, a variety, and not send it to North America anymore if it's prone to disease. And so he named a couple of them, like Gabriel Oak, and a few that they've retired, but he says they've brought them back because there's been quite a lot of demand. But he said that on the label you'll see that it says that, you know, this rose is prone to disease. So, you know, you might want to think about buying it. I'm going to read the fine print. This is a beautiful way to display the roses, with each one has its own feature. With a beautiful canal water feature in the center. Finally got a little bit of a breeze. It's so hot today. I'm not complaining, it's not raining. Beautiful view down here, hey? This is stunning. The pergola path. And here's the pilgrim climbing. Claire Austin climbing, which of course we know that I have Claire Austin. And there she is in all her glory. Nana says that this is a very nice rose.
And a lot of the beds around here. And
yeah, Desdemona. This is one of the ones that I really think I would like to include in my garden.
You don't have
it's
it?
very pretty. You don't have it?
I don't have it.
This is a rose I don't think they sell in North America, or at least I've never seen it. It's called Saint Swithin. It's on the wall here as a climber, and also here on the pergola. It's really beautiful. This one, the Albrighton Rambler, I've seen for sale. It's kind of got a loose blossom, but again, some black spot. Eek! Here's one called Strawberry Hill. I don't recall if I've ever seen this one. This is a pretty one. Again, a little bit of black spot, but we don't worry about that anymore, do we? Here's the Generous Gardener. See, the Generous Gardener is actually a very pale pink rose, but the buds are very pink. Gosh, these arbors and our pathways are just absolutely so incredible. Here's the Lady of the Lake as a rambler. Claire Austin again as a climber rambler. Yes, this one has a number of old roses, 1860. I wouldn't say 1996 is old. There's more Lady of Shalott. This is a wild rose from 1899. This is a pretty one, Mom, with like kind of small little blossoms.
1861.
Wow. 1853. Celestiana. 1750. Wow, that's the oldest rose we've seen. Here's one, 1817. Mom, here's one named Empress Josephine. Woo!
Bright pink.
Hi, Josephine. This is an old rose introduced in 1815, which is bright pink, medium, strong, old rose, fruity, my favorite scents. We're heading up to the Victorian Garden again. Olivia Rose is everywhere. She is just like my Olivia. She is so reliable and wonderful. Victorian Garden, Mom. I love the Victorian Garden. It's so beautiful. It's not boxwood, but they've got this kind of boxwood style hedge all around. They've got this beautiful ancient sculpture. And it's a walled garden with all this brick. Yeah, I told the gardener that they have so many of the David Austin roses at Kew. He didn't seem to really care. Sceptred Isle, and these iron. I love how rusted these look. They're so pretty. Again, they don't ship to Canada. New Dawn. That's a beautiful climbing rose. Those have just the most heavy blooms. I'll have to tell Olivia about that one because I don't know if we can get that in Canada, but it would be a good one.
Every Princess Anne I've seen, and there's been a few of them in here, are so prolific. They're just heavy with
Very upright, aren't they? Like they have.
But the petals aren't big. They're short. No, I mean not
Yeah,
very
yeah,
wide.
they're not. Yeah,
They're not wide. They look wide in the.
they're really pretty though.
They're short. And so
Really
there's-
like Lady of Shalott. The Lady of Shalott was a heavy hitter at Kew and also down at Queen Mary's Rose Garden, Mom, right?
Yes, right.
She's got a ton of black spot here, but her blooms are incredible. And that's one thing that the gardener said to me. He said, you're growing these for the flowers, not for the foliage. So don't get too fussed over the foliage. You know, old friend, Princess Alexandra of Kent. She's a little bit on the struggle bus, kind of like mine too, so.
Struggle bus.
Harlow Car here is so super budded up, and pretty much everywhere else we've seen Harlow Car, there's been just tons of buds, but maybe we're just a week early for Harlow Car. Here's a pretty one called Litchfield Angel. I think Litchfield Angel I've seen at Garden Works, and it's really, really nice. It's a very ruffled bloom, and it has almost like a crazy chaotic center in here, but the blooms are really, really nicely ruffled. Kind of in the way that Brad from Select Roses does a ruffled edge. Here, really pretty. Litchfield Angel. More Olivia. Just seems like so reliable. Desdemona, Mom, this is the one, right? This is the one I'm gonna get.
Oh, are you?
I just love Desdemona. She's so upright and white, and she's so just fluffy, you know, like clouds. This one's pretty. Port Sunlight. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. It's kind of got like almost a like a sunset kind of appearance to the bloom. Flowers. Here's another beautiful climber which I've seen available in Victoria called the Albrighton Rambler. Gertrude Jekyll. You just cannot lose with Gertrude Jekyll in my mind. This is such an incredible climber and just such big blossoms. Mom, look at how big the blossoms are on Gertrude Jekyll. Here is Iceberg. Mom, Iceberg is not a David Austin rose. Technically, I don't think, because I bought an Iceberg climbing rose and it's under a different, maybe Iceberg is no longer proprietary or something because it's from the 50s, but it's a very popular rose. But I have Iceberg set as a climber on my back fence by the garage. 3 years. Here's Danahue. This is another one I really love. So upright, like just such strong growth vertically and really beautiful. Almost, I want to say like a taupey type of a blossom. It's not so orange. We can walk down the side, Mom. James Austin. I don't think I've seen that one. That's a very pretty one with very upright stems. Up here is the species garden, which has all the wild roses and the old country roses. So ramblers, again, introduced in 1899. And the difference in this area of the garden is that it's much more rustic, it's much less refined. You've got mostly these roses are from the 1899 range, 1870. This one, again, there seems to be a lot of them that were introduced in 1899. That must have been a big year for roses. And you can see they're very kind of just long and lanky and doing their own thing. But, you know, I don't see a lot of disease on these roses, which is kind of interesting. So again, 1899, maybe, is that just when they started keeping records? Some of these are actually wild roses. 1905. What do you think, Mom? Wild rose?
Well, these are all leggy.
Yeah, but they're wild roses. That's why they're not.
They're like the Alberta wild rose.
Yeah. They do look like an Alberta wild rose. That's right.
Exactly.
I wonder what the actual variety of the Alberta wild rose is, or if it's its own species. Okay. Let's go back to something more manicured. We've had a good look around. Mom, can you figure out what kind of bird that is? Because it's really loud. So we've had a really good look around the specialized garden. It's so remarkable the way roses can be, you know, styled in different ways. There's the mixed planted border with all the other plants, which I really favor just because I think it's supposed to be really good for pollinators to have different varieties of plants around. So we saw Nepeta, we saw lavender, we saw peony. There was a few other ones that I wasn't familiar with, so I took photos. I really also liked the Victorian garden that had the shrubs around the edge just to delineate the borders. I don't think that's realistic in my garden though. So, Mom, do you have any other reflections on our visit here to David Austin?
I think that the setup that they have, this seems to be a place where people can look and think, oh, yes, I could use that one in my garden. There's a number they can go to go and purchase it. So I think it gives everybody a good feeling of what they have on offer here.
Oh, that's a good point of view, yeah.
And they seem to give you, there's a little QR codes if you want to find out more information. So I think it's set up for people to succeed, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people here who I've heard some of the local people who are talking about, oh, we're looking for a yellow rose or we're looking for a pink rose. And they're looking together as a couple to decide what they want to add to their garden. Because, you know, I suppose roses are a bit of an expensive plant because it could be, you know, about $90 to buy a David Austin rose in Canada. Yeah, just been a great visit here. It's must be 25 degrees out. It's so hot. This is the Garden Room Cafe. Oh, wow, they've got some beautiful allium that are white. It's so hot, I don't know if I can handle a cup of tea. So we're having our little cafe lunch here at David Austin Roses, and we have selected rose lemonade. Oh, thank you so much. And we are having a scone with clotted cream and strawberry jam. Very excited to take a look at the David Austin book. I'm just gonna video some of the perennials that they have for sale along with the roses. So they've got a climbing hydrangea. They've got some honeysuckle, lonicera, jasmine. I've got some jasmine with my roses. Solanium, pyracanthus. This is wisteria. Clematis called Freda with this dark foliage is so unique. I love it. So here are some more companion plants. So they've got all kinds of different geraniums, delphiniums, anemone, achillea, agapanthus. And here's all the lavenders. Munstead lavender, dwarf blue lavender. Here's Nepeta Persian blue, some lupin, some irises, some hemerocallis, which I believe are daylilies, more pretty geraniums, and some heuchera. I have some heuchera just like this. But again, I thought heuchera was a shade plant, so I don't usually put it with my roses. Rudbeckia, which are black-eyed Susans. Here's a cool hydrangea with black stems. It's called Zorro. Very interesting. And here's some of the peonies. I wonder if these are some of the peonies that they had on display. This peony is called Gardenia. It's got the dark, dark foliage. I'm gonna look for a dark foliage peony. Over on this side, we have some Veronica. There's some verbena. Verbena, I planted as an annual. I wonder if it's an annual here. Oh, protect from frost. Maybe it's gonna live. I don't know. Oh, red salvia. I have only ever seen salvia in Victoria that's been dark blue or purple. So here's a cherry red salvia. Mirage cherry red. I saw some reds and pink salvia at the Chelsea Flower Show. As far as the eye can see, rose varieties at David Austin. So I'm just gonna go through some of the roses that they have on offer here. These are ramblers that only flower once during the summer, so they're not repeat flowering. Here's the Generous Gardener. It says it's best for fragrance. It's a medium climber, 15 feet, but it says really, really good for fragrance. It's interesting that they have already started these as climbers. You can see that they're already put on a bit of a trellis. So I wonder how old these roses are, maybe a second-year rose. This is Strawberry Hill. Strawberry Hill is a short climber, only 10 feet. But it says it's a really good fragrance as well. And here's Bathsheba. It's a very short climber as well. Well, not really very short, but this already has rust on it. So I don't know that I would buy that. Here's Claire Austin, which we have. It says best for health and best for fragrance. So my Claire Austin, I guess, is a medium climber up to 12 feet. I really hope she gets that tall, but my supports don't have her going that high. I haven't seen this one. This is a super unique color. This is called Warm Welcome. It's a short climber with a very open bloom type. It really looks quite different from any Austins that I've seen before. Well, here they have Iceberg as a medium climber, 15 feet. I didn't realize it was an Austin rose. Here's James Galway, medium climber to 12 feet. Here's the Pilgrim. We've seen the Pilgrim before. I love the Pilgrim's blossoms. It is a medium climber. I feel compelled to visit. It's like visit the shrine of each one that I own. It seems a bit insane. You know? I'm making these videos for me, so I can do what I want, I suppose. Eustacia Vi, of course. Emma Bridgewater was one that I'm really thinking about. If I can find Emma Bridgewater in Victoria, I'm going to consider her. I really love the color of Emma Bridgewater. Thomas Becket. So Thomas Becket is a red rose, but I've never seen it in any of the gardens we've gone to. Again, I feel confident that I'm saying this correctly. Gertrude Jekyll. Best for flowering, best for fragrance. Oh, I love Gertrude Jekyll. I don't know why do I not have her. I must have Gertrude Jekyll. And actually, why do I feel that way? Because she is the world's favorite rose, voted for by the World Federation of Rose Societies. Who could argue with this? Plus a gorgeous fragrance. Of course, we have to visit Olivia. Best for health, best for flowering. And then these are all the pots. I have to say, I love these giant terracotta pots. They must be, this is 170 pounds. So what's that, like $400? Danahue, this is another one I'm thinking about getting. Very cupped. It's interesting how they've got the roses displayed here. They've got this kind of watering system so they never get thirsty. We have to find where we've left our Nana. I've gotten a bit turned around here. Lady of Shalott. Where are we going here? Yay, I found Nana. So we're just heading out to our next stop, but it's been a wonderful visit to David Austin Roses, and I think there's somebody just sneaking behind me. It's that peacock again. Hello, little friend. In front of some Eustacia vi. Anyways, it's been a really fun visit and was totally worth the harrowing drive out to this neck of the woods. So anybody that's thinking about coming here, I would highly recommend it. Tons of fun for people who are obsessed with roses like me.